So where have we landed now?
This is the World in Conflict team, and sadly a few people are out on lunch now, but that'll make it easier to sneak around for you guys and see what it looks like at a studio.
And we don't disturb that many people?
No, definitely, it's good. I mean, you can see there are still some people at work here, but most are out to lunch, so there are a few empty desks.
And development never ends?
Development never ends, that's true. There's always something to do, always something to work at, and of course, otherwise you can always do research.
Here's a nice little poster.
Oh yes, not so small, but very nice indeed.
The story in an RTS game is sometimes overlooked, but it's something that I think every RTS developer spends a lot of time on. Is this the same thing here, that a lot of people work on the story?
I'm actually the only one at the actual company responsible for the writing and stuff. But we do have we did have two external consultants, sort of, to look at the stuff and come with improvements and all that. And I think as long as the scope was as large as this, I could handle it alone. But if we want to increase it beyond that, we would need more people to write dialogue and all that kind of stuff. As for Overlooked, I think we decided early on that we wanted a really strong storyline with this sort of almost Call of Duty flow to it. In other RTS games, they focus a lot more on the actual sort of tactics gameplay and skirmish gameplay. And that sometimes doesn't lend itself very well to a strong and directed storyline. So I think that might be why we differ somewhat from most of the other ones.
What's it been like designing the sound for Soviet Assault and the original World in Conflict?
It's been sort of a challenge. We had some really nice technology to build on from the beginning, since we've been working on strategy games and full simulation games since the start in '99 with ground control and so on. So it's mainly a further development of that technology. So we knew what we had to do and what we could improve, etc. But it's been a great experience. What
is it that you're most proud of in your work?
When it comes to sound design, I'd say the dynamic audio and the way it portrays the battlefield is something I'm really proud of. Though it's mostly it's a better experience if you have a really good sound system, of course. From a creative perspective, I would say the most fun part of it was the music. Digging into the folklore of the Soviet people, the Russian people. I've been listening a lot to folk music, Russian folk music, and trying to get inspiration from that. I think that was the most personally achieving part of it, I think.
Research, looking up and checking up everything, especially since we go back in time and what do the equipment look like in 1989? What kind of radio call signs do you use? We had a hard time finding the Soviet radio call sign system, for example. The Americans used the Alpha, Beta, all that, Alpha, Bravo, and all that kind of stuff, but the Soviet Union had a completely different system. And just finding that out, we couldn't even find it on the internet, so that's kind of the hardest part. That everything you do, you need to look up and check up and see that it's correct. And if you want to maintain like a plausible level.
Overall, I'd say that the sort of re-envisioning this strategy genre and making it much more action-oriented and much more accessible, and making a game that is as fun for strategy gamers as I think most shooter fans also think, even though it's not a shooter. So I'm very happy with sort of the overall take on the strategy genre that you took and the action focus.
I think the best thing about World in Conflict is on the multiplayer side, the way that you can pick it up and play, and the team play together with no base building and there's no resource management and there's no tech trees. You can come in and you can actually accomplish something right off the bat without having to train for hours and hours and hours. You don't get slapped silly by the people that are better than you, because you can often get into a team and just take a back seat and let some people that are slightly better than you guide you, and you can still accomplish something as a part of a team. I find the classic or normal RTS games to be very punishing. You go online and then you get, just like in Quake 1, if the person is just a little bit better than you, they win, with a score of 30-0 in Quake 1. And the same goes for RTS games. If they're just slightly better it's like a total, you get smashed over and over and over again. And I like that part of World in Conflict multiplayer very, very much. That's the thing that I'm the most proud of, and that I like the best about the game. That's why I still play World in Conflict multiplayer, and I don't find that much satisfaction in the multiplayer in other RTS games because I suck.
So this is the game testing room, the game testing area.
Yes, this is our own games lab where we invite people to try the games and help us evaluate gameplay, and people come in and we can observe them through an observation room. We can look in and see when they play.
The surrounding countryside. It felt great to finally roam free after having spent weeks inside the cramped container ships.